So, everyone, after skipping a week from our regular scheduled lessons to have a bit of an adventure, we have come to know as radical faith. We are going to continue with our look through the books of Dr. Seuss. Now, I do want to say this once again. Dr. Seuss was not a theologian, and some even question his true faith, as he did show some skepticism throughout his life. But I believe with a strong Christian mom, his moral compass really coincided with biblical principles. No, my goal in these lessons is to look at Dr. Seuss's books, see those moralistic ways of living, and show how we can see God in all the things we see, hear, and do. This is seeing God in everything and being able to give the gospel coming from any subject, person, or thing. I call this series The Gospel According to Dr. Seuss. But to be honest, it's more like the Gospel according to Godward Youth interpretations of Dr. Seuss's works. But that's a title that's having a hard time just rolling off the tongue or fitting on a screen. The book I chose this week is actually one of his shortest books in the Seuss library. It is often not called a book, but a poem. But to be fair with Dr. Seuss's rhyming scheme, I think all his books are poems. This book is also not as popular or well known as many of Dr. Seuss's works, but I think it really is a huge metaphor to the way the world is and acts right now. And the book is called The Zaxx. Since this is so short, I would like to read you the entire thing to you, so here we go. The Zaxx by Dr. Seuss, released August 12th, 1961. One day, making tracks in the prairie of Prax, came a northbound going Zaxx and a south going Zaxx. And it happened that both of them came to a place where they bumped. There they stood, foot to foot, face to face. Look here now, the north going Zaxx said. I say, you are blocking my path. You are right in my way. I'm a north going Zaxx and I always go north. Get out of my way now and let me go forth. Who's in whose way? Snapped the south going Zaxx. I always go south, making south going tracks. So you're in my way and I ask you to move and let me go south in my south going groove. Then the north going Zaxx puffed his chest up with pride. I never, he said, take a step to one side. And I'll prove to you that I won't change my ways if I have to keep standing here for 59 days. And I'll prove to you, yelled the south-going Zaxx, that I can stand here in the prairie of Prax for 59 years. For I live by a rule that I learned as a boy back in the south-going school. Never budge. That's my rule. Never budge in the least. Not an inch to the west, not an inch to the east. I'll stay here, not budging. And I can, and I will, if it makes you and me and the whole world stand still. Well, of course, the world didn't stand still. The world grew. In a couple of years, a new highway came through, and they built it right over these two stubborn Zaxx and left them there standing, unbudged in their tracks. Now, you got to remember that this poem was written in 1961. And a review of the poem from a man named Alan Miller simply said this: if this isn't a depiction or a description of human dimensions, I don't know what is. When I see this, I see the world in how it is today. A world full of ideas from any angle with very little agreement and zero compromise. Name an issue today, and there will be two very differing ideas traveling in two very different directions, running into each other. Both sides plant their feet in concrete, profess they are right, and refuse to budge. Proverbs 12:15 says this: a stubborn fool considers his own way the right one, but a person who listens to advice is wise. And Proverbs 29:1, he who is often reproved yet stiffens his neck will suddenly be broken beyond healing. We see this in the poem, the Zaxx. Now, their issue is they walk in one direction and they never move off that path. When the north and the south bound Zaxxes ended up coming face to face, their stubbornness will not let them even move over 12 inches. Psalms 32:9, we hear this: do not be like the horse or a mule, which have no understanding, but must be controlled by bit and bridle, or they will not come to you. What is the bridle in your mouth that is leading you? The funny thing about bridles is that when it is pulled to direct your course or the horse's course, it does not allow the head of the horse to do anything but keep its eyes straight on the path you are already walking. I want to give you a personal experience I had with this. Most of you know I was drafted into the minor leagues of baseball, and that an injury ended my career, or that is what I have said. It's true, I never did play again, but in 1988, the MLB had a strike. Ownership and the players could not agree on several issues, but the main issue was how much the players could make money-wise. The top end of the roster wanted to make as much money as they felt they were worth, and the bottom end of the roster wanted the minimum to rise higher. Management was dead set against this, and they said no. And the players and management stood in front of each other, arms folded, refusing to budge. The players went on strike and refused to play. So management did something drastic. They decided to go ahead and play games with replacement players. With pitching being the greatest need, your boy got a call. I went to a couple tryouts, but after I looked at what the players were fighting for, I agreed with them. I pulled myself out of the running to play. And even though I wasn't a player, I went folding my arms and stood in the line of the players. I refused to cross the foul line, so to speak. My inability to compromise at all may have caused me to not walk onto a major league field to play a major league game. My dream as a boy. Was I right? Was I wrong? To this day, I don't even know for sure. All I know is in 1988, I killed the dream I had as a boy because I only saw one direction. I think about the prodigal son. When I hear the story of the Zaxx, two brothers, very different. One is independent and wants his share of the inheritance now so he can get out and enjoy life in the big city. His stubbornness sees the farm life as a life less lived for him. And he goes out without really having the skills to cope in the city. He blows all the money and ends up having to come back home heading southbound. But back at the farm is a northbounder, his brother. The brother is a farmer at heart and loyal to the family. And seeing eye to eye with his younger brother is not anything he can do. They are unwilling to truly compromise with each other until a mediator comes between them, their father. He welcomes back the younger with open arms, and he reminds the older brother that the younger brother is literally back from the grave. They never thought they would see him again because his values were with the world. In 1 John 2:15 through 17, it says, Do not love the world or anything in the world. If anyone loves the world, love for the Father is not in them. For everything in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life comes not of the Father, but from the world. The world and its desires pass away, but whoever does the will of God lives forever. I see the younger as this person who thinks he knows it all, and if he wants it, he deserves to get it, no matter if he earned it or not. The older is the self-righteous, pious guy who just tells you you're wrong, and because you are not allowed to be here. When you get this toxic cocktail together, it doesn't bode well. And a standoff between the North and the South, it's bound to happen. It's the right fighter against the never wrong. No listening, no compromise, just stagnation. This meeting is like a boulder trying to move itself uphill. It doesn't work until something or someone can come along to push the boulder. In today's world of left versus right, Palestinian versus Jews, Christian versus Islam, the boulders just seem to be impossible to move. But here's the hope. Compromise is a choice. And we can get help with that choice. We have a God that doesn't move boulders. He moves mountains. The boulder is just a flick of the finger for God. But are you more stubborn than the boulder? Is it your way or the highway? If you don't get it the way you think you deserve it or want, is it to act like a 5-year-old, pitch a fit, threaten, or taunt the other? Do you just shut down, refuse to listen? La, 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 I'm not listening. I'm not listening. So much of this behavior of entitlement goes on. Is this living like Christ's behavior? Is standing nose to nose with those you disagree with and never listening, but always arguing, or maybe worse, making excuses for your behavior, even becoming the victim? The two Zaxxes in the story stated their case to each other, and then it became the world's longest staring contest. No speaking, no listening, no compromise, no nothing but silence and stubbornness. I think when I hear this, I see a lack of respect for the other. I see an unwillingness to listen to the other. I see a spark of dislike turned to hatred. Doesn't that sound a lot like the world today? I mean, if we don't agree with them, we just hate them. What God calls from us is what the father tells the older son in the prodigal son. The answer is unity, unity. Psalm 133:1. How good and pleasant it is when God's people live together in unity. And Colossians 3:14. And all over these virtues put on love, which binds them all together, is perfect unity. When you hear the word unity, do you just picture a group of people who are like-minded, belonging to the same team or club, group, or school? Then you are not thinking on the godly level here, people. 1 Corinthians 12:12 says, just as a body, though one, has many parts, but all its many parts form one body. So it is with Christ. This was Paul talking about the church in Corinth, that everyone in the church has value in that church. But we tend to think again about our little slice of Godward youth, or the peeps you just hang with. If God created the world, and if Jesus told us to go out and make disciples of the people in the world, Would not the church be the world? How cool would it be to have a civil discussion with someone you have differing views than? How would it be if you could sit in a room full of blank line? You fill in what you think. And instead of laser beams coming from your eyes, dialogue begins. Learning why they think the way they think. Hearing them about their beliefs. No judgment. They don't even need to join your way of thinking. But you walk away with understanding, not hate. How would it be if we had unity? Unity is an underrated superpower. And the cool thing is, you don't have to get dosed by a mega radiated spider to get it. Living for others with the heart of God, seeing the value of everyone you meet, agree or disagree, listen with intent, and have a willingness to simply step aside and go on your way with just a bit of compliment.